Good day, everyone. I am Jasmine Claire Tabono. Together with me is Miss Rose Ann Figaro, and we will talk about Chapter 19 entitled Macroeconomics Around the World. So, the diversity of countries and economies around the world. So, global economic diversity is measured through the GNI, or the gross national income, which classifies countries in nana siya measurement of pilay low income, middle income, and high income. There is a significant global GDP imbalance, with North America, Australia, and Western Europe having the highest GDP, while many other regions remains considerably lower. In addition to traditional economic growth factors, four key influences contribute to economic disparities. So, unsa kay naka-cause ana? Number one is the geographic conditions, or the national resources, climates, or ang location. Also, the demographics, such as the young versus aging population, industry structure, for example, agriculture-based versus industrialized economies, and also the economic institution, for example, policies, government, and financial system. So, mo ni factor sa anong unsay naka-cause nganong ang usa ka lugar kay kundi siya high income, or nganong middle income, or even nganong low income. So, these elements collectively shape national economies and impact global standards. So, for example, Philippines. Philippines is a middle income country, which is aiming to reach high income status by boosting industries like BPO and manufacturing. So, BPO is kanang mga call center. Okay, nagpasud man na og mga dollars sa country, and ang dollar nga quantity sa to, or in exchange rate, is dako man. So, aside from technology, this affect a country's economic status. Hintay, demographic countries, di ba? Ang Pilipinas, country which ang island is moji existing sa Philippines. So, island nations like the Philippines rely on imports for resources. And demographic, a young workforce can drive growth. So, median age is 20, I think, yeah. Or no, 25. So, industry structure is, di ba, katong geographic industry structure mo tayo makakos kung say matawag nato og low, middle, or high income. Improving country standard of living depends on investment, so in physical and human capital. The growth consensus suggests that 70% of income differences worldwide stem from disparities in saving and investment. High-income countries focused on fostering innovation and technological advancement. East Asian tigers, kani sila is ang Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and South Korea. They grew rapidly through industrialization. So, ang challenge lang dire is that workforce to use new technologies. So, example, ang Philippines. Ang Philippines is na ay build. So, magtukod si tukod. Kaya abi nila kanang nga mga kipang tukod is makatabang. So, it focused on infrastructure and to attract investors. Free tuition in public universities support human capital. So, fiscal and monetary policy. So, ang fiscal policy is ang nagasto sa government, and ang monetary policy from a previous chapter 15, ang central bank na control na. So, fiscal policy is mag-invest og education, infrastructure, and helps inflation low and currency stable. So, example, ang Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas mo-adjust og interest rates to control inflation and stabilize the peso, or the kwarta sa Pilipinas, we call it peso. Japan also use fiscal and monetary policies to boost growth. And high-income countries often focus on short-term economic stability. Kintahay ang Pilipinas mo follow og similar policies. For instance, during the pandemic, the government increased spending to support business and workers. High savings, more money for investment, strong education policies for skilled workers, uses of advanced technology, support for industries to maximize cheap labor. For example, ang Pilipinas na sad. Outsourcing industry grow because of skilled workers and lower labor costs. Companies expand due to this advantage. And if ang weak na ang institution and legal system, maglisod jud og attract og investors. Political instability, so uncertainty discourages of long-term projects. And lack of capital. People spend all income on necessities, so little is saved. Ang corruption in the Philippines makes it harder to attract investors. Kaya ikaw, ganahan kang madato ka, mubutang ba ikaw kwarta sa dili ka sure, wa kay sure nga kwaon pa gani na kwarta ha. So for instance, delays in infrastructure projects due to red tape discouraged foreign businesses. So nabaya po news ng ubang lasod, so makita nila kung unsa ka buaya mo nga dili po sila mo risk sa ilang kwarta kay wata kay bawo ka ng butang nila nga kwarta is mag-goodbye ra. So most income is spent on basic needs, no saving for investment, and dependence of foreign aid. They can help but not enough for long-term growth kasi gira di silang tabang niya wa sila mapawi. An example of this is many Filipinos live paycheck to paycheck, limiting national savings. So government projects like 4Ps, Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, help, but long-term solution require job creation. Okay, yung pila na gani kita gaagwarta sa 4Ps, ila pong gipariban. Kanahan mo anak. High-income countries use policies to reduce joblessness. So watay ug unsa man giplano nga ang mga kanang mga high-income countries is ilang gi focus nga mawala ang kanang tanan tao pa gi work nila nga dili tanan at dili ang mga tao magtambay manarbaho sila. And some countries have strict labor laws to discourage hiring. Ganahan mo nga manghugas mo pero ang requirement kay diploma dapat na degree na ay 2 years experience manarbaho gani. Manong dili man iuyon sa kanang unsa gipanginta. Middle and low income countries have underemployment instead of formal unemployment. So for example, many Filipinos work in formal jobs, kintahay sari-sari store, and are not counted in official unemployment rates. Many people work in non-traditional ways. So pasabot nga farming or fishing, wala sila stable income kay magbase naman na kung sige hatag sa environment. And instead nga ng mga farmer sila may pinakanakong sweldo kay ang source ba sa mga Pinoy kay luto, bugas. Sila ba gatanom sa bugas pero ibaligya rag 20 kinsa may di magansi ana. No access to benefits like unemployment insurance. So example, mga jeepney drivers often don't have stable salaries or retirement benefits, making them vulnerable in economic downturns para atong pandemic. Imbes na walo-walo, tagupat-upat ra. So kinsa may gansi nga they are trying to feed a family. And muna nga, economic downturns. Inflation often caused by government overspending. So, na country nga sige ka nang na sa tama ba kay maggama na lang ditag kwarta permi. So, na country nga for printing too much money. So, wala na sila ang ilang kwarta is mura nag papel ra. Some countries manage to grow despite high inflation by adjusting wages and prices regularly. Example, during 2020, inflation hit 8.1 due to oil price hikes and food supply issues affecting everyday expenses like price and transportation fees. So high-income countries usually have trade surplus, sell more than they buy. Middle and low income countries have trade deficit, so buy more than they sell. So magansi sila kay ma-expire man jud na o samot nila paliton kay mga pagkaon, and if ever man butang magabuk man bisan pag plastic na malani pa gani usahay. So the danger is sudden financial crisis due to fast-moving foreign investment. An example is ang Pilipinas naatay trade deficit because it imports more than it exports. It heavily relies on OFW remittance to balance the economy. That would be all, and I will give the next presentation to my member.
Causes of inflation in various countries and regions. Inflation in high-income economies is typically managed through monetary policy, which helps prevent inflation from becoming enriched in the medium and long term. These countries recognize that allowing inflation to persist does not lead to long-term economic benefits. In contrast, many middle and low-income economies struggle with inflation due to large budget deficits, which are often financed by printing money. This results is an excess supply of money compared to the availability of goods and services, leading to rising prices. Inflation is still a big issue in some middle and low-income countries. Too much money chasing too few goods. Some countries sustain growth even with inflation by adjusting wages and contracts. Converging economy. A country catching up with technology leaders through investments. Example, in 2022, inflation spiked due to oil price hikes and food shortages affecting daily expenses. Next is balance of trade concerns. Reducing trade barriers benefits economies, and small economies need global trade to succeed. No isolated small economy has achieved high living standards. Concerns about international trade include job loss, environmental risk, and unfair labor practices, with the infant industry argument being a key reason for trade restrictions. High-income countries usually have trade surpluses and export capital, while low and middle-income countries have trade deficits and receive foreign capital. Expected trade patterns. High-income countries trade surpluses or export more, invest abroad. Low and middle-income countries trade deficits or import more, rely on foreign capital. Issues. U.S. has had large trade deficits for decades. Small economies are vulnerable to sudden capital flows, inflows, and outflows. Example, our countries relies heavily on foreign direct investments or FDIs for economic growth, like foreign companies setting up BPO operation. Thank you.